Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Pearly Brewer, and I will be your host. Today's podcast guest is Tim Petersen, President and CEO of WorkSafeNB. Welcome, Tim.
Good to hear from you again, Pearly, and very happy to be here today to talk about our upcoming Health and Safety Conference.
So today's topic, as Tim just mentioned, is the WorkSafeNB's annual Health and Safety Conference, which, for folks, if you haven't heard, will be held this year at the Fredericton Convention Center from October 2nd to 4th, which is coming up, I'll tell you so quickly. Tim, why don't you give us some history as to WorkSafeNB's annual Health and Safety Conference?
Yeah, happy to do that. Well, I'd start by saying the conference has been around for a while. We started hosting Health and Safety Conference way back in 1980, and we've had one every year, of course, with the exception being the COVID years where we had to suspend the conference. But yeah, it's been going since 1980. Certainly, I would say one of the largest health and safety conferences in Atlantic Canada, and if not the longest running, certainly one of the longest running health and safety conferences. It's undoubtedly it's our flagship event, and very pleased that attendance has grown significantly over the years. And I think really a testament to the high quality of speakers and the importance of the topics that have been chosen. So throughout the years, we've been very thoughtful in selecting topics that would appeal to a broad range of people. We're trying to attract people from across all industries in New Brunswick. So it's ranged from high-level safety leadership topics right down to very industry-specific content. And I'm just exceptionally pleased with over the years, we've had such impressive speakers. They deliver critically important messages, and we plan to continue that tradition with our 2024 Health and Safety Conference.
Now, the venue this year, as it has been the last few years, is the Fredericton Convention Center. Now, some folks may remember back to the years where it used to move around. It's pretty much stayed at the Convention Center in Fredericton the last 2 or 3, I know. Why don't you explain to folks why that is the case?
Yeah, it's really simply boils down to capacity. So the Fredericton Convention Center certainly has the capacity we need. Last year we had 660 delegates, plus all of the, as you can imagine, the efforts of staff who volunteer their time to help out with the conference. It requires a lot of capacity. So, and not just from the venue hosting the conference, but also the hotels. One of the big advantage that we have at the Fredericton Convention Center is we have, of course, the Hilton Garden Inn is right there attached. But then if we need overflow, we have the Crown right across the street, which is very convenient for folks. So it really boils down to capacity, and the folks at the FCC have done a great job for us over the years. So we're very pleased with the service, and we've received great feedback from our delegates. So we've got a good thing going, and we've continued that for 2024.
So you mentioned a moment ago, Tim, a wide variety of workshops. Let's start with perhaps if you could give us an overview of how the conference is structured, starting with the opening night. You always have a great reception. So again, for folks listening, October the 2nd, which is the opening night, why don't you walk us through in a general sense first, and then we'll get into more specifics, what the structure of the conference is.
Yeah, certainly happy to do that. So as you noted, we kick things off on Wednesday, October the 2nd, and the conference will run through till shortly afternoon hour on Friday. So we get things kicked off. Actually, the trade show will kind of open things up. That starts on Wednesday, October the 2nd at 4 p.m. along with registration. So that'll run from 4 p.m. to 8 on October the 2nd. We do have, as you know, we have a really great opening reception that starts at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. always a great opportunity to catch up with old friends. We see lots of people returning to the conference year after year, which is great. And we always see new faces. So it's an opportunity to meet new people. And one of the things I enjoy most about the conference is it's an opportunity to spend time with people, and at the opening reception with people who share a passion for health and safety. If you didn't have that passion, I don't think you'd be at the conference. So it's just a great opportunity to connect. At that opening reception, as is customary, we always have some great prizes for folks. We'll have a few finger foods and, of course, a selection of beverages. And we have, once again, returning to provide some live musical entertainment. We have a band, Draft Picks. They were with us last year and proved to be very popular, and they'll be back for the opening reception. That's kind of the first day. Then on Thursday really is when the conference swings into full action. The trade show continues on Thursday, full day, 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have breakfast served 8 to 8:30, and then at 8:45 I'll be providing some opening remarks for the conference. Then at 9 o'clock we're going to hear from Lee Russell, who's speaking on behalf of Threads of Life. So I know that it will be a very impactful message from Lee. I can't say enough, Pearlie, really about Threads of Life. As you know, one of the more important and impactful organizations that really are dedicated to supporting workers and families who have suffered from workplace tragedies. So the stories are emotional and inspirational. Then we get into, at 9:30 on Thursday, our first keynote speaker, former NHLer Clint Malarchuk. And Clint is going to be sharing his story of resilience. I know we'll speak a little bit more about that later on, so I'll leave that for then. Then after Clint's keynote, our breakout sessions begin on Thursday at 10:45 a.m. And those sessions will run right through to the end of the day at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Friday, we'll get off to a bit of an earlier start. We have breakfast starting at 7:45 on Friday till 8:15. We will have our presentation of our Safety Star Awards at 8:30 on Friday morning, and then at 9, a spotlight on safety presentation. We have more breakout sessions Friday morning, just running from 9:45 to 10:45. And then our closing keynote speaker is Colonel Chris Hadfield. Chris will join us from 11 till noon. I'll have some brief closing remarks at noon, and that'll bring 2024 Health and Safety Conference to an end, and then we'll start planning for 2025.
Look, you mentioned both of your high-profile speakers that you have, two great gentlemen that terrific messages they can share. Why don't you talk a little more about those two gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm very happy to do so. I guess I would start by saying that I'm really continually amazed and thankful for the quality of keynote speakers that the team here at WorkSafe has engaged over the years. And I would say 2024 really is no exception. I can't myself personally can't wait to meet these two individuals and hear more about their stories. So our opening plenary, as I mentioned, Thursday is with Clint Malarchuk. So I know many hockey fans out there would recognize Clint's name. He's a former goalie with Quebec Nordiques, Washington Capitals, and Buffalo Sabres. Also served as head coach and a goalie coach for several other NHL and minor league teams. Interestingly, Clint actually played for the Fredericton Express for a year, 1984 to 85 in the American Hockey League. So kind of coming back to a city that he knows quite well. One of the many of you would remember this specific game, but in 1989, during an NHL game, Clint suffered probably one of the more horrific injuries that anyone's ever witnessed when he was a skate blade cut part of his jugular and not only almost ended his career, but nearly ended his life. He was only saved, I think, thankfully, for the fact that there was quick action by one of the Buffalo Sabres athletic trainers, who happened to be a former U.S. Army combat medic who had served in the Vietnam War, and he was the one person who needed to be in that place at that time to be able to save Clint. Remarkably, Clint was back on the ice just 10 days after that incident. So, as you can imagine, that event had a significant lasting impact on Clint. And during his post-playing days, he began struggling with several issues, including OCD, depression, and alcoholism. Clint at one point had attempted suicide, but thankfully was not successful. And since then has become really an awareness advocate for mental health. So I would say, amongst other things, his message will definitely empower delegates with strategies for overcoming challenges and fostering supportive environments for mental wellness, really a critical component for psychologically safe workplaces, both personally and professionally. So it'll be a very strong, impactful, and inspirational message, I'm sure, from Clint. Then Friday morning, Colonel Chris Hadfield he'll be our closing keynote speaker, and certainly promises to be a stellar experience, all puns aside. Chris, certainly a Canadian icon known by all of us, became really a global sensation when he commanded the International Space Station. He had his daily podcasts, which were made space an even more interesting place, and accessible to millions of people around the world. He was there for 6 months, and of course, as you would imagine, surrounded by interesting and sometimes life-threatening health and safety concerns. His daily routine really was preparing for and solving worst-case scenarios, both from a team and leadership perspective, and all the while trying to cultivate and maintain an optimistic and positive work environment for those around him. So, again, will be inspirational. Chris will be touching on a few things in his message. One is learning how to be comfortable with ambiguity and approaching it with curiosity and possibility, managing stress and leading under pressure, as you can imagine, and building resilient teams and encouraging collaboration amongst diverse teams. And those are messages that will resonate throughout our conference, actually. So it'll be a fitting closing keynote that we'll hear from Chris.
Yeah, certainly two excellent speakers there, Tim. Wow. In addition to those two great speakers, you have a lot of topics on your agenda this year. And again, a lot of good speakers addressing a variety of topics. Obviously, we can't get into every single topic, but why don't you give us an overview of some of the topics you do have on your schedule for this year and some of the speakers that you have as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. Well, we have a great lineup. It's quite a broad range of topics. We have actually 28 sessions in total, and we have, as is tradition, sessions are delivered by a combination of our own subject matter experts here at WorkSafe, and then we've engaged with external industry experts. So, very diverse range of topics. Some very industry specific, and then some are related to broader issues. So industry specific things such as a session on preventing welding fume health hazards, the dangers of respirable silica. So very, very specific things. But then we have broader topics addressing things like youth safety, opportunities for educating newcomers on health and safety rights and responsibilities, certainly a very prevalent issue. And then we have sessions dedicated, as you'd expect, to psychological health and safety, which is really a really strongly emerging issue. Health and safety leadership. Have some sessions on return to work and disability management, which you may not, think of in the context of health and safety, but we think of it in the context of preventing ongoing disability. So we've introduced some of those sessions to the conference. We have a session on how do you really most effectively engage with your joint health and safety committees, which really are when we talk about champions of safety in the workplace. Certainly the JHSCs are prevalent. We have some updates on regulatory changes because there have been a lot of regulatory changes recently. And then a session on how WorkSafe New Brunswick's prevention services can work for you as a workplace in New Brunswick. How can we help you? And then we have some interesting sessions on occupational health and safety and the law, and how that might interact with artificial intelligence, which is one that I don't know a lot about, but I'm interested in hearing more about the combination of safety, the law, and artificial intelligence. Sure to be interesting. So just, I think a wide range of topics that appeal to a broad range of individuals.
Yeah, probably when I looked at your program earlier, probably one of the biggest challenges for delegates this year will be, looking at so many good topics and trying to decide, gee, I can only go to one at a time. Which one am I going to go in and sit in on? Because there's certainly a lot of very relevant topics to the health and safety field. Now, people that are coming to your conference, looking at as well at language of the sessions, English, French, and so on. What do you have to offer delegates there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have simultaneous interpretation for a number of these sessions. So certainly for opening and closing remarks, for both of the keynotes, there'll be simultaneous interpretation. We have that available also in 8 other sessions. And we have 3 sessions that are in specifically in French. I mentioned earlier we have almost 30 sessions. There's just simply not, to be honest with you, Pearlie, capacity from a number of interpreters available to be able to do simultaneous interpretation for all the sessions. So we make a determination of which ones we think would be most appealing, and then we provide that service for those. So that's where we're at on interpretation.
Now, you also have something called the Safety Stars. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that and explain what that program or what that is all about?
Yeah, I love to talk about Safety Stars. It's definitely one of the highlights of the conference. But it's a program that I'm very proud of. And it's really, I guess, when you think about it and you think about our vision at WorkSafe New Brunswick is making New Brunswick the safest place to work. But we're not going to be able to do it all by ourselves. We can only do it together with all the workplaces that are out, all 30,000 workplaces in the province. So it takes a collective effort. And we set up this program because we wanted to be able to recognize individuals and organizations who go above and beyond in their commitment to health and safety and their passion for health and safety in the workplace. So the Safety Stars program is all about recognizing those individuals and companies who are the leaders and champions, the Safety Stars, as we call them, that create and nurture really exceptional cultures of workplace health and safety. So this is about recognition, and we began the Safety Stars program actually way back in 2003. So it's been this will be 21 years. One thing that's changed in those years is that when it first started out, it was WorkSafe New Brunswick, so ourselves who would select the companies and individuals to be recognized. But we changed that approach in 2017, and we asked the public and the workers and employers out there in the province who are there, boots on the ground, and see the commitment firsthand. We began asking them to nominate safety stars because they're well-positioned, most well-positioned really to identify those individuals and companies who ought to be recognized. So, and people have done a great job. There is no lack of nominations that come in. The challenge is that you have to select only a few folks to be recognized from those nominations where, there are anyone who's nominated deserves a big kudos for what they're doing. So our toughest job is who do you kind of select to recognize. Reflecting on last year, we recognized one individual actually and two companies. So Shelley Poirier is a senior safety advisor with the New Brunswick Construction Safety Association. We recognize Clo Canada and the Fredericton Playhouse, and I take every opportunity to continue thanking them for their commitment to health and safety in the workplace. So again, this year we'll have an individual and a couple of companies who will receive Safety Star Awards. I'm not going to tell you who they are. If you want to know, the quickest way to find out actually is to attend the conference. So I would encourage you to do that. And nominations actually for the 2025 Safety Stars will open at the conference. And if any of your listeners out there wish to nominate somebody, you can do that online at WorkSafeNB.ca.
Yeah, and I'd certainly encourage folks to do that, Tim. To me, recognition, we have so many good people out there working in health and safety now. It's a great an opportunity to recognize those safety stars, as you call them, people working in organizations in a very variety of different capacities. Exhibitors, it's always nice at a conference to take some time and go through the exhibitor area and see what's new, see the resources that are available to an organization. What do you have lined up this year for your exhibitors?
It's the trade show is always very popular. So this year we actually have 29 exhibitor booths, highlighting a wide range of things, the latest in technology, equipment, tools, services, all things related to occupational health and safety. We have some exhibitors who tend to return on an annual basis, and we always have some new folks coming in, and it's quite a breadth of, I guess, sort of equipment and services and topics that you'll see being showcased. Where I would say, back in the early days, maybe things would be focused more on physical safety, PPE, that type of thing. Now, I think what you'll find is there are more people at the trade show are talking about other things like psychological health and safety resources, joint health and safety committees and the role they play, in addition still to the continuing importance of PPE and the latest in PPE to make sure that we're physically safe. But very pleased to see that the breadth of offerings has really expanded over the years.
So how many delegates would you hope to get to your conference this year? What's your goal?
Our goal is to set a record. So our average number of delegates has been, 550 to 600 over the last few years. Last year at the 2023 conference, we set a record. We had 664 delegates. The goal this year is to set a record again. So we want to be 665 would be great. I think 700 would be over the top. And if we could get to 700, that would be fantastic. We are September the 12th here today as we chat. We're upwards of 500 delegates already registered. We've got another full 3 weeks plus that registration will be open. But spots are going fast. I was talking to the team yesterday, at the end of the day yesterday, and they said in one day, just yesterday, there were 70 registrations received.
Wow.
And we do, 800 is about our capacity. So with spots going that fast, certainly, I would encourage, anyone who's interested to make sure that you get to our website and get registered as soon as possible.
So again, just to remind folks that may be listening, what is the easiest way to register for your conference?
Definitely online. So it's right on the landing page of our website. You'll see a conference banner, and if you click on that, that'll bring you to all things conference related with the links to registration. I would also note and send you my appreciation, Pearlie, and the folks at Safety Services New Brunswick, because I noticed there this morning as I was checking out your website that you have a link to the conference page right there on your landing page as well. So certainly appreciate that and all that you do to advance health and safety in our province.
Well, look, Tim, there's no doubt about it. When you look at the opportunity that you present to folks that work in health and safety or have an interest in health and safety, whether it's a health and safety professional, whether it's a JHSC member, or it's a member of management. It's a tremendous opportunity to improve your knowledge of health and safety. When you look at the range of speakers and the number of topics, there's something there certainly for everyone. Motivational speakers, you have two great speakers to lead off your conference and to finish off your conference. But, I think a lot of it goes back to something you said at the very beginning, and it's always such a good opportunity to network and just to meet other folks that work in the industry and to get caught up and to make contacts and to exchange business cards. And that's always probably one of the nicest things about the conference.
Yeah, I would agree totally, Pearlie. That's where my thoughts were going. Not to downplay the significance and importance of all of the sessions and the speakers, which promise to be great. It really is those networking opportunities. That's oftentimes when you get these little tidbits of information or knowledge that really resonate and stick with you and help you to further health and safety in your own workplace. So I think it's all important, and collectively it shapes up to be just an amazing opportunity to expand our knowledge of health and safety and to help make New Brunswick the safest place to work, which is ultimately where we want to get to.
So, Tim, while we're talking, I see on social media, you folks at WorkSafe have been sharing a message about some good news in health and safety, and that's about accident frequency or accident rates in our province. Do you want to share with folks that are listening today as to what that message is?
Absolutely. I want to start by just, we have a program here at WorkSafe we call Kudos, and Kudos is all about recognizing our colleagues for their efforts in any given area. So I'd say I want to send a kudos out to the workers and employers of the province because they have really stepped up their health and safety programs, and the results that we see are reflective of those collective efforts. And in 2023, just as an example, we achieved the lowest lost time injury frequency in our history, 1.0 per 100 employees. It's the lowest that it's ever been. So it's just so inspiring and impactful to think about, that those reductions in injury frequencies are like real and direct impact on our fellow citizens in a very positive way. In 2022, if I reflect back on that, New Brunswick actually had the lowest lost time injury frequency in the country. So we're doing good things. It means fewer of us are getting hurt on the job. And as I said, it's really It's thanks to the collective effort of the workers, employers, and all those who contribute to health and safety in the province. The other things that it means, if fewer people are getting hurt at work, you know what? It means that our claims costs are coming in much less than what we anticipated. So our funding position is improving and assessment rates are going down. When everything is working in that direction, you see really positive results. So we, in fact, in 2024, have the second lowest assessment rate in the country, something we're very proud of. And the thing I'm most proud of, I think, in all of it, Pearlie, is we're doing all of this with a more engaged workforce at WorkSafe. We have a collection of 525 really passionate and dedicated people that I have the pleasure to work with here at WorkSafe. And I'm really proud of how far that they've brought the organization and the contributions that we've made to helping make New Brunswick the safest place to work. And as you know, there's lots of great information out on our social media channels, some of which I just touched on, but there's much more out there, broad range of things, not just our results, but even resources, health and safety resources for you. I would also take this opportunity to note that we will be hosting our annual general meeting later in October. Once we confirm, once the date is fully locked in, we'll have that out, available out on our website. May already be there. I was just discussing it yesterday with my team here. But that AGM is an opportunity for me to share with our stakeholders more about our 2023 results, and then a preview of our newly approved strategic plan for 2025 to 2029. So I'd encourage folks to sign up for the AGM if you'd like to hear even more about some of the initiatives happening at WorkSafe.
So my last question, Tim, today, I guess would be, as we head into the fall and folks start to look at planning for 2025, anything you can share with us as to what we might see on WorkSafeNB's work plan for the upcoming year or so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess from a kind of prevention, ongoing prevention perspective, I would say first and foremost, collaboration. I just touched on it, but it's the collective efforts of everyone in the province who are championing health and safety in workplaces. The collective efforts that are really getting us to where we are today, and I believe will be key to getting us to even better results as we go forward. So we'll continue. WorkSafe will continue to collaborate with various workplaces and associations throughout the province. Certainly in 2025, we're going to be continuing to put a focus on supporting new workers. So whether that's youth or maybe older folks who are new to the workforce or newcomers to Canada, which will be featured at the conference session. Well, we really need to do more work to ensure employees and employers understand their basic rights and responsibilities. I think that we do a good job getting information out there, but I do still think that given the sort of makeup of employers and workplaces in the province, which is really primarily smaller workplaces, that sometimes the message is not always getting out, even in regards to basic rights and responsibilities. So there will definitely be efforts to educate in that regard. Psychological health and safety will be a focus for us in 2025 and beyond. We actually created a brand new team in our prevention division. We created a team of health and safety consultants solely dedicated to creating strategies to focus on preventing psychological injuries and promoting psychological health and safety in workplaces. So that's a very newly formed team, and they're in these first stages of developing a psychological health and safety strategy for the province. So that'll be critical. We, as of June 1st, 2024, are now the regulator with respect to commercial fishing in the province of New Brunswick, which was something we've been working on for the better part of 3 decades. So we'll now be enforcing health and safety, on fishing, in the fishing industry, not quite to the point of being actually on the water, on the vessels at this point, doing most of our work at the wharfs in the spirit, again, of collaboration, awareness, education, where this is so new. We really want to set the vessels, the industry, the captains up and staff up for success. So we've really had a push on awareness and education. Of course, there is a compliance component, which we're also mindful of that, and certainly if there are any serious incidents, we have an investigation team that would do that. But that's so enforcement in that industry is new to us, so that'll be a focus. And then, we do have, unfortunately, kind of areas where we see like repeated injuries happening, and oftentimes they're not very forgiving. So when you think about things like tag and lockout, machine guarding, and especially fall protection, there's still a lot of areas that we need to target from a compliance and enforcement perspective, and awareness and education. We just see we're still seeing too many incidents in those areas, and as I said, there are not most times actually not very forgiving if incidents occur. You'll continue to see we use our social media channels to the fullest extent possible to help in educating and making people aware, providing health and safety updates, prevention tips. And then finally, I guess I would finish off just by saying that we're continuing to evolve kind of our planning process. So we have a process where we go through, we would be going through that process right now to determine what workplaces or industries that we want to focus on in 2025. In the past, doing that type of planning and setting out that yearly work plan has really focused more on injury history and accident history. What we want to get into and what we're starting to get into is what other factors could help to get us to a more predictive model, so that we're engaging with workplaces before the accidents happen. So we've done a lot of work in that area. We're using a lot more data to inform our planning process. And I'm encouraged by some of the evolution in predictive analytics, some of the things I know we'll be seeing with respect to artificial intelligence that will really help us. We have limited resources, so planning and getting into the right places at the right time is critically important. So we're going to continue to focus on evolving those tools that we have. So that's kind of some of the things that we'll be looking at in 2025 from a prevention standpoint. I would just say, we're doing a ton of work on rehabilitation and return to work as well. And I mentioned there will be a session on that. I guess I would just sum that work up by saying we have a focus on early intervention. So we firmly believe, and I think all of the data shows, the earlier that we can intervene after an injury occurs, the better the probability, or the higher the probability that we're going to have a successful return to work. So that'll continue to be a focus on the rehab and return to work side. So that's where we're headed in 2025 and beyond.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for taking the time to work with us, or to speak with us, I should say, today. Certainly kudos to you and your staff at WorkSafe, both for your conference. People I know sometimes will go to a conference and maybe not realize all the work that does go into them. And as you mentioned, the day your conference ends this fall, it will be the time you start to plan for the next year. So certainly kudos to you and your staff for the conference, and as well for all the things you're doing to keep the accident rates down in our province. You don't get to the rate that you've talked about on the podcast without a lot of hard work by a lot of hard out day in and day out people. So again, thank you very much for everything you do. Again,
thank you.
Go ahead.
If I may, I just want to. I want to just reflect on that. I'm very thankful for the team that I have here at WorkSafe. Very dedicated. So happy to see the results. But as I said, it's all in partnerships, and I really want to thank you. I want to thank Safety Services New Brunswick for both the opportunity to talk about the conference, but also for all the things that you do. I know you yourself are champion of health and safety and have been for your entire career. So I thank you for that, and I thank you always for the opportunity to share more about the things happening at WorkSafe New Brunswick. So thank you for that.
Well, we'll certainly be having you back again, Tim, and we always welcome any of the folks from WorkSafe. We've had a number of them on our podcast over the last year and a half to talk about the many aspects of health and safety. Final message, if you haven't registered for the 2024 Health and Safety Conference, make sure you do it and do it soon. It's selling out, as they say, very quickly. Thank you for listening to our podcast today. We appreciate you listening, and if you have any ideas for future podcasts or podcast guests, please let us know. Tim mentioned the interest in AI, artificial intelligence. We will have a podcast coming up in a couple of weeks where we'll have a speaker actually addressing the work that they're doing in AI and how it applies to health and safety. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you again next week.